Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, the podcast covering all things soccer in the Queen City. So get in touch, soccer fans. Email us at feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. Now, here's your host, Nick Suberling.
17-match unbeaten streak, ladies and gentlemen. 108 days since FC Cincinnati last lost a match. By the way, 17 matches unbeaten. That's half the USL season, folks. Big win tonight. FC Cincinnati knocks off their rival Louisville City FC in the final regular season matchup in the Dirty River Derby, as we like to say it here on CST. We're glad you're with us here on this special Tuesday post-game edition of CST. I'm Nick Suberling alongside Brian Weigel and Bill Wolf. Tonight, it's a free-for-all. We want to hear from you, so get in touch with us. 513-399-KICK. That's 513-399-KICK. This is your chance to have your say about tonight's conclusion to the match that started all the way back on Saturday night. It's the first time in FC Cincinnati history, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, I believe it's the first time they've ever finished a match on a different day than it was originally played. I could be wrong about that, but I think that is actually the case. It's a first for FC Cincinnati. So anyway, if you don't want to get in touch with us on the Kings Hammer Hotline, you can always email us feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter. We'll be monitoring the tweets tonight at Cincy Soccer Talk. Big night. FC Cincinnati gets the 1-0 win over Louisville City FC. Wasn't the prettiest night of soccer for the guys in orange and blue, but they get the job done. Brian Weigel, how are you feeling after that big win?
Wasn't pretty. It was freaking beautiful, my man. Louisville at Louisville in front of 10,000 of their own fans. Yeah, that's what they put. Yeah, I mean, it's freaking awesome, buddy. My attendance. I freaking love beating those guys down there. Got the monkey off our backs this season against these guys. Was it, it wasn't the most appealing game visually, but we had a job to do. The guys had a vision. They had tasks of what they needed to do to get the 3 points. They went out there. They did it. We got a chance now in our next 2 games to go tie the best 30-game start in USL history. So, yeah, man, I'm jazzed up. Heck of a game, man.
Yeah, and we were kind of talking about it before the show started. Look, in the end, all that mattered was getting the result. All that mattered was the 3 points against Louisville. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. Anytime you play on that pitch, whether it's dry or soggy like it was Saturday night, it's tough to get out of there with 3 points. And Louisville has really struggled this year, but especially at home, which is very surprising. But Bill, they get the job done.
In the end, that's what matters. Great teams find a way is what they always say. And, I mean, we found a way. We had one shot on goal and it went in. So, you take advantage of the chances you have and, that's how you come out with a win. I mean, obviously there was some critical saves from Mr. Moist Richie. And I think that, sorry, that's Twitter. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that I think that, you go down, you do what you got to do, you make the saves you got to save, you get your chances and you take advantage of them and you win the game. And that's what we did. Obviously, Louisville could have come out ahead on this one and they didn't. So shame on them.
So we always start the show off with our best and worst. So I'll start with you, Bill. Your best and worst.
Best. The best is that we clinched a home playoff game. So, you can't go wrong there. 6 games to go. We can only improve on that. Guarantee ourselves all home playoff games, get the supporter shield, whatever. But at this point, we know that game 1 of the playoffs is at Nippert Stadium. So Jeff Smith starts selling tickets. Worst is that crappy pitch down in Louisville and the fact that we played on it in a monsoon where the rain was coming horizontal instead of vertical. And, fortunately nobody got hurt, but that was pretty ridiculous. And on the same side, a little rain, a little bounce into the ball. I don't know whether that would have gone in or not without that puddle, but either way it went in and we took advantage of the situation again and got it done.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue that pitch being the worst. I mean, Even Alan Koch said it Saturday night after the match was postponed. It's a it's a bad enough pitch even when it's dry. So I agree with you there. You're pretty spot on with your best and worst there, Bill. How about you, Bri?
My best was, I think it has to be Spencer Ritchie. I mean, the guy came to play. I think it's maybe outside of Evan Newton's first 2 games of the year in Charleston and then in Indy, I think this has to be one of the best goalkeeping performances of the seasons. I mean, the guy had 5 saves, but then he had like 6 or 7 punches. I mean, he got on every ball that came across his way except one, which really could have been deadly in the 88th minute. But man, just incredible. Worst, there's no freaking worst. We beat Louisville in Louisville. I'm going to give another best. I'm going to go out and say, Ty Alashe, you are a stud. I'm so happy we have you. This guy is great in the midfield. He's the only really way we got forward tonight when kind of all the pressure was against us. So love the play out of him. I think the sky's the limit right now with this guy with some confidence. So 2 bests, no worsts. To you, my man.
Yeah, look, I'm going to kind of steal Bill's thunder here and go with the worst being the field. But as far as my best goes, I'm going to give it to the duo in front of Spencer Ritchie, and that was Patty Barrett and Forrest Lasso. All night long, I wouldn't say maybe struggle is not the right word, but Blake Smith had a hard time with Davis, the fourth, on the outside. And Davis found himself with space there on the near sideline or near touchline and was whipping crosses into the box. And every time if it didn't get to Ritchie, it was either Forrest Lasso or Patty Barrett clearing that ball in front of Spencer Ritchie. I thought they really did a good job over the 48 hours of containing Louisville. Lancaster, outside of his free kicks, didn't really get much of an opportunity. They did a good job of shutting him down. And even when Spencer came into the match too, he was kind of a non-factor. So I really like the way that Barrett and Forrest teamed up. And really, the center back pairings all season long, whether it be Forrest or Patty or Forrest and Deckel, they've been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, they had a great game. I mean, I know there was times when there was pressure and clearances and everything. The fact that I kind of said this on Twitter, I feel like Louisville almost goes with a hockey style offensively at their home, where they just throw every ball they can in the middle and hope, if it doesn't find Lancaster on that first run in, it might find Illich or however you say his last name on that second run behind. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm glad that Kenny Walker is able to deal with it a lot of the time defensively. Offensively, was he great? Not really, but I mean, it was a complete performance. As I mentioned earlier, the guys had clearly defined roles and how they had to defend in this match, especially when Tyler Gibson entered the game. So, I feel pretty jazzed up about winning. Do we always like to win 5-0 or 4-0, whatever? Sure, but I felt like tonight was a good feeling on how it ended up coming out for the Orange and Blue.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bri. We want to hear from you, though, FC Cincinnati fans. It's a free-for-all tonight, 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. Our own Rob here standing by, ready to take your calls. Let's go to the Kings Hammer Hotline. Kings Hammer Hotline. Let's welcome in Jessica to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Jessica, welcome to CST. How are you?
Hey, boys, how you doing? It's a Bill Grandesto up in here.
Hey, what's happening, Bill? How are you? It's funny how that works out. You kick off every free-for-all, I believe.
Yeah, man, it's kind of amazing. I got that clairvoyancy. That's a word I learned in college. I actually see tough. Look, boys, I can't talk for too long because I'm with my brother-in-law, Bobby Grandesto. We're getting ready to eat at a Rally's that is connected to a speedway outside of Louisville. It's the only restaurant that's open in this crappy town.
Were you down at the game, Bill?
Yeah, you know what? I made it tonight, and I got some observations from the game. Me and Bobby, my brother-in-law, went, and, some things are strange. That game seemed like it went really fast. I don't think they played an entire full first half.
No, yeah. Well, what happened was, Bill, the game was rained out from Saturday night, so you weren't wrong. It did seem like a really fast first half.
Yeah, because at first I thought it was maybe the drugs or the drinking, but man, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. But I tell you what, boys, you're talking about the good, you're talking about the bad. I'll tell you what, the bad, Louisville, dumb town, dumb fans, dumb coach, whether his name's Hacksworth or James O'Connor. But let me tell you about the good, because I saw it with my own 2 eyes when I was down there tonight, excuse me. Last year we were all down there, we were partying, listening to WEBN, and we watched Mitch give up 5 goals. But I'll tell you what, boys, tonight Mitch Hildebrandt looked great. He was making saves. He was doing so awesome. Mitch said no all night long. I want to thank you, Mitch Hildebrandt, for playing a great game, and I look forward to seeing you in the EPL or the MLS, whichever we go to.
I hate to break it to you, Bill. That wasn't Mitch Hildebrandt tonight. Or Saturday night.
I was there, Stoobs, unlike you, who lives in northern Wisconsin or wherever the hell you're at. But I was there. I saw Mitch Hildebrandt with his blonde hair, blocking passes, scoring his own goals. He did great. I was very proud of him. Thank you, Mitch. We will see you in MLSs next year.
So, Bill, I heard you brought a couple of friends with you outside your cousin Bobby. Can you enlighten us on a couple guest appearances down at that game?
Well, yes. One of the bad things was, the Traveling Bailey came out as best they could on a Tuesday night, but there were granted, I've been drinking most of this week, and there were 2 guys in front of me, one all decked out in orange, one decked out all in blue, and they just kept, they're very wacky. They were waving around. I thought it was like a Burning Man thing, but they were in my face the whole time. I couldn't see a dang old thing. I mean, I could see Mitch make those saves. Thank you, Mitch Hildebrandt. God bless you. We love you. But these 2 guys in the front, I don't know who they were. I don't know what SG they were from, the Bailey Balloons or something. But they were all up in my business, and I did not care for it.
Oh, man. Well, Bill, we appreciate you calling in. I'm glad to hear you've been staying out of trouble.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, my brother-in-law Bobby's yelling at me. This rally's in the Speedway here is about to close. We've got to go because we got reservations.
All right, give me a big Buford.
All right, we'll grab you one and we'll ship it up to Dayton or wherever you live. I don't know. You're a Crew fan, aren't you?
Yes, you're spot on there, Bill. Hey, appreciate the call, buddy. Stay.
All right, God bless you, boys. Take care.
Stay out of trouble.
Well, we'll do what we can, but no guarantee.
That's our good pal, Bill and Bobby Grindisto, starting things off here on the free-for-all. Oh, man, I love it. Oh, 513-399-KICK. Yeah. 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. Get in touch with us. Let's go back to the phones, and let's welcome in Yersky, who made the trip down to Louisville. Yersky, welcome to CST.
How do you even follow that?
I often wonder the same thing, Yersky. But you made the trip down there. How was it?
Yeah, it was amazing. And I just wanted to take a minute on air. I know I usually have a question. I don't have a question today, but I want to commend everybody that actually came down. We were small but mighty today, and a lot of people told us from listening that you could hear us loud and clear. And I want to take a minute to appreciate everybody that came down because it was absolutely amazing, the small but mighty crowd that we had down there.
Yeah, I could hear you loud and clear during the broadcast. Sounded good.
That sounded great.
It was, I would say, probably around 50 people, but I feel like we were very, very strong there. Yeah.
So,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, 50 people, that's about 50% of the crowd tonight, right?
Right. I would say there was about 1,000 people there tonight total.
Oh, you didn't want to run with my joke there, Yersky? Okay.
I know.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good time tonight. I'm glad you brought home a winner, more importantly.
Absolutely. We tried our best.
Well, safe travels back, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Have a great night, guys.
It's Yersky here on the Kings Hammer Hotline. Again, 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. We've got phone lines open, so please get in touch. If you're traveling back from Louisville, we want to hear from you. We know that there are about 50 of you, so no excuses, although we don't want you chatting on the Facebook while driving. Let's be safe out there. That's why we're coming back from Louisville. Let's see. We've got a couple folks lined up here. Let's go to the gnome of the Bailey. We'll welcome in Chris Weimer. Chris, welcome to CST. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, man. 3 points over Louisville, 17 in a row. I'll take it.
6 wins in a row.
You can't beat it. I'm sitting at Bucketheads. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, life's good today. But who do we fear in the playoffs? I mean, I don't want to get the Cincinnati curse on me, but who do we fear in the playoffs? I'm not fearing anybody at the moment.
Oh, you went
guys
there.
Fear anybody?
I fear whoever plays us in the first round.
I mean, I just see us. I don't know. I maybe just captain talking to me, but I'm pretty happy with this team at the moment.
Yeah, and they're playing well. Look, I mean, they've gone half the year without dropping points, or without, I shouldn't say not dropping points. They've gone half the year without losing. That's pretty impressive.
I mean, this game today had Cincinnati written all over it. Somewhere we would have just blew it, lost by 4 points, but we did non-Cincinnati thing and we actually won it and played smart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that I'm not used to.
Yeah.
So I was just seeing how you guys felt about the future and the playoffs itself. I'm right now living high. I'm about to go put it all on as orange and blue right now.
Yeah.
If I could fly to Vegas right now.
Right. Who do you fear?
Well, I laid my money on the orange and blue in Vegas, so I feel good as well. But I think that if Tampa Bay somehow gets in, I think they scare me a little bit. Now, that's a big if they can get in. But I really think Louisville still scares me a little bit. They play with the Fury. You saw now, of course, they went hard over 50 minutes, balls to the wall, I guess you could say. And, I hate having to play them because they're going to be fired up. And then, maybe Bethlehem. I don't know. Bethlehem's, they're probably not even going to get in, are they? They're close, right?
They're close, yeah.
They're close.
Maybe Bethlehem because they gave us fits when we played them.
Yeah, they've played a lot of extra games, so they could drop just from numbers.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But those are the guys that scare me.
I can see them first round. I can see them number 8.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
Sounds good to me.
Be good there at Buckheads. Tell everybody we said hello.
And the Spurs, and my prediction right now, Spurs are beating Liverpool 3-1 this weekend.
Oh, all right.
Just gonna put it out there.
So we got a little EPL. It's a free for all. We could talk about that too, I guess, a little bit. So, hey, Chris, appreciate it, buddy.
Right. I'll see you guys. Bye.
That's Chris on the Kings Hammer Hotline, 513-399-KICK. 513-399-KICK. We've got phone lines open, so get in touch with us. Let's go back to the phones. And let's welcome in Brad to the show. Brad, welcome to CST. How are you?
Hey, good, guys. How are you?
Doing well. Feeling good. 3 points over Louisville. Can't complain.
Yeah, tonight's, like Chris said, it kind of felt like one of those nights you're waiting for the other shoe to drop and give up a cheap one, and the team just doesn't do it. So that's a nice feeling. It's they have 6 or 7 good defenders back there, and they're real interchangeable. If you have a physical match, you put Barrett back there. If you have more of a speed match, Blake Smith and Hoyt. So that's the feeling I like with that team is their defense. I know we have Bledesma and a couple good goal scorers, but their defense has been really good. Spencer Ritchie especially.
What I like, Brad, out of Patty Barrett is that he will make a lot more of his plays with his feet, or try, maybe head it down or chest it down to his feet and then make a controlled pass out of pressure. Whereas a lot of guys in USL will try to head it, just try to get, let's just try to get it out of there. I think that helps when you play like a team like Louisville who thrives off the second ball.
Yeah, I feel like maybe earlier in the year he didn't do that. Maybe that's why he wasn't playing as much. But he's definitely improved. He's a guy you would almost like to see make the leap with them next year, just because he's so young and physical with some MLS forwards. I think he could give them some problems for sure. And then Nashville scares me in the playoffs just with their goalkeeping, and they have a few guys who can score. The big, I think 6'7" guy. I don't know his name, but
we just call him Big Bird.
Yeah. They worry me a little bit just because their goalie can put up a 0. It seems like whenever he wants to.
And to be fair, FC Cincinnati struggled with them twice this year, and 3 times if you go back to the preseason match. So, Gary Smith has done a really good job there with Nashville.
Yeah, when they were down there, you could see them playing for a tie, and Nashville got a late one here. So, but again, I think FC Cincinnati is the most talented team, but sometimes that doesn't matter. You know, the ball bounces one direction and you lose 1-0.
That is a good point, Brad. Hey, appreciate the call. Don't be a stranger, man.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's welcome in Matt to the show. Well, let's see if I can do this correct. Let's welcome in. Hey, now we got Matt. Matt, welcome to CST. How are you?
Hey, how's it going tonight, Sue?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just leaving the match with my wife. We're driving back. I just want to comment that I think that Spencer Ritchie, he really had his fastball going tonight. He had a lot of movement on it, and, I mean, it was really hitting the zone, and they had no idea what to do. I mean, Spencer was great tonight.
Yeah, he was painting those corners, wasn't he?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the peanuts and Cracker Jacks I had at the field. It was a beautiful night for baseball, unlike the other night, Saturday when we were there, which was not best baseball weather. But
and you know what?
It was a good time.
I'll tell you what, Matt, and you got to give credit to Alan Koch. He brought in the closer Fernando Adi late in the match to really seal it for the guys in orange and blue.
Yeah, Jenny actually has something to say about Addie.
My 2 cents about that. I'm sorry. I usually don't have a lot to say, but we are paying that man too much to do nothing.
Oh.
Jenny doesn't like the Addie chant either.
Yeah, the Audie chant is awful. That's one of our most terrible chants. He doesn't really do that much.
Wow.
Well,
let's see what happens next year.
When you're one striker versus 5 or 6 defenders, it gets a little challenging. So, and I think he still had 3 chances that he was able to beat a couple guys. So it's just tonight's a tough night for that.
I was surprised he even played, to be honest.
I'm gonna hold out though.
Well, you guys be safe coming back from Louisville.
Yeah, we will. And Suze, I just want to let you know that if you look at the EPL standings, Liverpool is still at the top of the table.
That's fantastic.
And Man U.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, they're.
Call me back in May.
You're breaking up.
Call me back in May, Matt. All right.
Yeah, and if you have a ticket of Liverpool to win the EPL and FC Cincinnati to win the USL, you're gonna cash both of those. So, you heard that here.
All right, Matt. Be safe, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
See ya.
About Adi.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Talk about Adi.
Yeah, let's talk about Adi.
So I don't think the guy. Well, he had no help tonight, and the only time there's 1 or 2 times where there might have been, and I think we said this off air, how much I really liked Alashe just on clever little chips or clever little 10-yard little passes to spring the forward. He did it with Welshman a couple times. I think he did it with Adi once, but the guy at least pulled 2 defenders, 3 defenders, had to keep an eye on him at all times. And that's a big deal when, you might have Suwahi or whatever, how you ever say his name. He can go 1v1 on Welshman. You have to pull, all these guys to look at Adi. And that's something to be said when, a team can put, instead of putting eight guys in the attack, they put 7 or 6. I think that's something to be said about Adi. He might not have all the scoring yet, but he still adds a big part in killing off that match. It wasn't like Louisville City really got into the game over the last 20 minutes.
No, and the other thing is I mean, as a target 9, right, you have to be up top to be a target. That means that we have to actually get the ball to him.
Sure.
And I mean, he, for the most part, I mean, we were just kicking long balls to corners and things like that. It really didn't give him much chance to do much of anything. And I mean, the fact that he only touched the ball 4 or 5 times, I don't know that it's necessarily his fault. I think it's more of just the conditions of the field, the fact that was just what we were playing at that point. So I wouldn't read much into it at this point.
Yeah, I still go back to when I saw him being subbed in, I was very, very surprised. I did not think we would see him on that field. I was shocked. But he does command multiple guys to watch him, which opens things up. So For those of you expecting for him to come in and score 10 goals in the short amount of time he's here, that I think that was a little bit unrealistic.
Well, okay, so I know it's tough to really gauge in looking at all the stats and everything, but if you just look at the Louisville City heat map after he entered in, the game was a lot more in the midfield than it was in our box.
Yeah.
Comparatively, or to the first 70 minutes or so. So I know that's tough for me just kind of pulling it up here, but when you just look at the differences, I mean, there's a stark difference there when he enters that game.
I'm surprised you were even able to even pull that up on the USL website.
Oh, well, it takes me about 30 minutes to load, but you have to just scroll or click refresh 8 times. It's gonna be the best thing about moving to Major League Soccer.
513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. We've got phone lines open. This is your chance, FC Cincinnati fans, to call in and have your say. We are hoping to hear from Boston Razzle Dazzle Brazzle, who made the trip back down to Louisville tonight. So I know he's on his way back. He's got to be up bright and early for that day job he never goes to because he's always on PTO. But we're hoping to hear from him. And, of course, if you're driving back from Louisville and you want to ring in, 513-399-KICK is the number to do just that. It's that time of the show where we give a shout-out to our tremendous supporters. First off, thanks foremost to Kings Hammer and Tim Brontel for their support of the show each and every week, or each and every month, I should say. We really do appreciate it. Along with Matt Adamchick, Mama Subes, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Mike Hudson, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Kathleen Francis, Jesse King, Teresa Everidge, Matt Imholt. Liverpool for right now is superior to Man U, and Mama Sagai, Mama Segan Sagai. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. There you can find out about our Growler Cup, which I know a few folks tonight were tweeting at us that they had maximum points in the Growler Cup, so that's always good too. So again, get in touch with us. Kings Hammer Hotline, 513-399-KICK. It's asking you shall receive. It's like he was reading my mind. Let's welcome in Mr. PTO himself, Boston Brazzle. Boston, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Traveling back with our resident photographer. And great game, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, they got 3 points. We were kind of talking about it early, Boston, that it just seemed, at least early on, especially in that second half, FC Cincinnati was a little sloppy. Then they kind of settled in and just made it really difficult for Louisville to get anything going offensively. But in the end, 3 points, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, and I felt really even from the get-go that Alan Koch had a definite emphasis on keeping that 1-0 lead. We saw a couple chances, right, on both ends, but really that game was Louisville possession, which is fine if that's what you're planning for, and FC Cincinnati warding off that attack. And I think I was really impressed with our height tonight, especially in the box. We saw Lasso make several great clears. Barrett doing the same. Just even Blake Smith, he was fighting on the wing over and over again. Louisville tried to use Blake Smith's wing, and he just warded it off time after time.
Yeah, it was pretty clear that they wanted to attack from that left side of FC Cincinnati's defense. I think they went back to that match early on at Nippert Stadium. I think it's the first home match. Blake really had a tough time that night against Davis, and Davis got a couple of crosses off. Fortunately, it didn't find the foreheads of anyone from Louisville, but guys like Forrest Lasso and Patty Barrett were there to clear it away. So fill us in a little bit more on the traveling Bailey, Boston. How was it?
Oh, the Bailey was great tonight. A little bit less than when we were down here Saturday.
Yeah.
But, they still brought it, right? They always bring it. Traveling Bailey pulled out some tricks. We saw our wavy friends. I heard Bill Congresso was kind of behind that a little bit. But just overall impressed. Singing and matching the whole game. And that's not always easy when Louisville's got the ball and you're on the other end of the field and you're so far out there in the outfield, so you're trying to make more noise so that the players can hear you. But they did a great job. I was impressed.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful night for soccer down there. Obviously, it looked like the pitch was still a little wet, but not as wet as it was Saturday night for sure.
Yeah, I think my favorite moment is before the match starts, they're watering it down, and we start chanting, "It doesn't need that."
That's funny.
Boston, you messaged us earlier. People will probably say that Ledesma tonight probably didn't have his A game, but you had pointed to something, at least on the corners, that might have thrown him a little bit.
Yeah, so Ledesma has taken the one of the first corners. Actually, it was the first corner taken in that, I guess, the baseball end on the left side. And at the time, they had cables running right there, like right next to the corner flag, the TV camera cables. And he points to the official, and it looks like, he was like pointing at the ground, like, what is this? How am I supposed to take my corner kick with, camera cables right here? And if you go back and watch the game, you can see him have the slight dialogue with the official, and she just says, look, there's nothing we can do. That's me ad-libbing, but he has to take that kick. And then after the kick was taken, they moved it back a little bit. But that is a terrible corner.
Are we surprised though, Boston? I mean, that pitch, that setup is not. I mean, look, for what they do down there, it works, but it's hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's frustrating for him because that's his side.
Yeah, you mentioned them coming after Blake Smith so much, but if we think about it, of course, on Saturday we came down the right side a lot with Ledesma, and even for them, the alternative is they have to go across that turf grass mix stuff. So I'm sure for them, their focus, regardless of who they're playing, is to try to drive down the right side whenever they're on that side of the field. So
yeah. That's a good point.
But Blake did make a good job of keeping him back as best he could. Yeah. So.
Well, Boston, be safe coming back. All right, buddy?
Will do.
That's the Razzle Dazzle himself. Tell Jeremy we said hello as well.
He says hi back.
All right, good. Mr. PTO, Boston, Razzle Dazzle Brazzle joining us here on CST. Go ahead, Bri.
So the one thing, and Bill talked about it a little bit earlier about kind of attacking Blake Smith, is I think that's kind of where tactically over the span of 90 minutes might be different than over the span of like 50 minutes. Is if you attack Blake Smith time and time again over 90 minutes, his chances later in the game to break down, just because he's tired, I think it's a little bit greater than over the span of like 50 minutes tonight. And that's probably something that helps us. It makes me a little bit more excited for Pa Konate, even though Blake Smith has done literally nothing wrong. And I feel kind of bad for him, but that's just another thing that we can add a little bit more athleticism going into the playoffs or into this matchup. Again, you really didn't see him or Hoyt get up the field at all tonight. That's probably because we were dealing with a little bit of a lead, but just something to think about going forward.
Well, and I think also if you think about it, typically Hoyt plays more defensive. I mean, he will get up the field, but he's not he doesn't have the young legs, right? So he'll get up there, but he's not a up and back kind of guy. Blake Smith, he's a little younger, he's a little quicker. You tend to see him driving up and getting more into the attack than Hoyt typically. But in this game where we're playing that half of the field, what is it? All but 10 minutes of the game, then we probably said, well, this is the side they're going to come down because they don't want to, want to come down the left side. So he ended up playing defensive, and then Hoyt, kind of played his typical style. So yeah, it ended up putting us in a pretty defensive position for that second half.
I would say, honestly, of the two, and I don't have any stats to back it up, but I felt like Blake Smith got a little bit more forward. I remember there's a time maybe in the last 5 minutes where Adi kind of got the ball and he held it. He wasn't sure what to do, but that's because Blake, Adi, and Alashe were like right on top. All three of them were like right on top of each other. Like that's the only time I can really remember. But yeah,
everybody's on top of one another on that small field.
On that field. Yeah, there's nowhere really to run. So yeah, we'll see what happens the next time. I really feel like we're gonna play these guys another time this season. I mean, they're good when the cards are out there. They're just in a little bit tough run of form.
Yeah, but it would be good to beat him at Nippert finally.
Oh man, yeah, that would be fantastic.
Great, because they know how to win there. They've done it 3 times?
Yeah,
twice this year.
Once in 16 and twice in 18.
And the thing about when you play Louisville, especially there at Slugger Field, their pressing style, it really suits that small pitch where there's not a lot of room. And you could tell early on tonight, especially tonight, after I guess the quick halftime period, just a lot of errant passes because guys are in a rush to get rid of it because they're being pressed so quickly. That's why they're so successful there in Louisville. They do such a good job of pressing you to make the mistakes, and then they capitalize on it. Fortunately, the mistakes and there were some mistakes tonight. Kenny Walker had some turnovers tonight. I would say Nas had a few turnovers tonight. Didn't have his best game. In the end, it doesn't matter. But the biggest thing is, I have a hard time believing that we will not see them in the playoffs. It's almost like destiny. Mm-hmm. So, and really, honestly, would we want it any other way? I don't know. I think that would be a great way to end things, personally.
And I want to play Toronto, Richmond, and Penn FC in the Eastern playoffs.
Yeah, I know what you mean too, there, Brian. But I don't know. Anyway, we want to know what you think. 513-399-KICK. Get in touch with us here on the Kings Hammer Hotline. So shaping up around the USL right now, FC Cincinnati on 63 points. They are, I believe, they're close to the USL record for points. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bri.
Over 30 games. New York Rebels 2 had 69 points. So if we win our next two matches, we would equal that. Now, what our friends over at Raising Bulls always say is...
Very quick to point that out.
Yeah, very. No, what about our goal differential? Well, when you play FC Montreal 3 times a year and all that stuff, that gets to be going up there. So good for you.
But still, impressive season.
Yeah, it would be a great season regardless. And people will say, you got all these expensive players, and of course there's something to be said with Adi and Alashe and Konate over the past couple weeks. But if you really look at it, Nashville spent a lot of money. Tampa Bay spent a ton of money. Pittsburgh's even has a pretty good roster there. So I think props to FC Cincinnati and what they've done so far this season. Now, even if we don't get that record, it's a great accomplishment so far what they're doing. I mean, they're really running away with it right now, almost kind of like a Man City year from last year. Just completely dominating the league. I mean, what Bill? We're pretty close to locking up Supporter Shield. I mean, I don't know this. I need to check with FC Cincinnati, but I feel like I've seen 72, and we have 63.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would take either, but I mean, if you look right now, top of the West is Orange County with 54 points. They have a game. They've played more than Real and Phoenix, who are both at 53. So, if you look at those guys,
they've played one more game than us.
Correct.
And
yeah, and then Real and Phoenix are the same as us, and they're 10 points behind. Yeah. So, I mean, when you're looking at we got 6 games left, 6 games for most of those guys, you're looking at 18 total points, and we're already 10 up over these guys. Mm. We'd have to basically lose every game for them to overtake us at this point. I mean, not, but you know what I mean. I mean, we could score a point per game and pretty much
the best anybody in the West can do is 71 points. So if we get 72, that's game, set, match.
Yep. That is what you call math there, folks.
Yeah. Yeah. Windows calculator, baby. Woohoo.
Yeah. So that's 3 wins out of 6.
Rich enough to have a Mac.
Yeah. I've got 2 of them here. Anyway. So look, FC Cincinnati, they've got a game this upcoming Sunday against Toronto, a team they dropped points to earlier in the year. In a match they were up 3-0. That was disappointing. So obviously Toronto just beat Louisville. So they're playing well.
Yep, different team completely. And we'll see who they travel. That's a big deal. Like they had Nick Hagelin this past weekend up in Toronto, and I don't expect him to travel. If he does, good for them. I mean, they still have a lot of really good players still. They got Hamilton, John Piquera, who's I think one of their homegrown players. Subasa Endo, Ashton Morgan. I mean, they still have a lot of talent there. It's just they're going to give up goals. I mean, that's one thing to do, but they can score them. So we'll see what happens.
One thing also to keep in mind too is they play Thursday, Bri.
Oh, that's brutal. I guess that's why we play on Sunday.
Yeah, so they play Thursday. So they're going to have a midweek game. They're going to be coming off a short rest. Meanwhile, FC Cincinnati will have a couple extra days of rest. And, you know, these are important games to pick up against teams you should beat. You know, games like this against Toronto, coming up against Penn FC, games against Richmond. Those are 9 important points that could ultimately seal the deal for FC Cincinnati as far as the supporter shield.
Yeah, and honestly, you might point out that FC Cincinnati played tonight, but they only played 50 minutes, and most of their main guys I would venture to say you're going to see Welshman again start because he's been playing very well. It's against his former club. There's a little bit of motivation there. It's almost like a dedicated hard practice, really, when you look at all things. So I think you're probably going to see a pretty quality group of guys go out there and play TFC on Sunday. The one question we talked about was Ledesma. I don't know if he was hurt or tired or just wasn't feeling the pitch. It looked like he kind of came out, or he did come out early, and I'm not sure what that exact reason is. This could be a good game to rest him. Maybe you see Deco Kanan in for Barrett this weekend. So I'm excited to see what we can do versus these guys.
Yeah, and you also got to realize, Toronto is eliminated from the playoffs, so it's not like it doesn't make sense for them to bring a bunch of guys in from their top team just to push for big wins or anything.
I think they've done the whole years. They try to get those MLS guys who don't get the consistent run out, like Hagland this past weekend. So we'll see what happens there. The thing I really want to see is what we're 59 goals this year, 58 goals, whatever it is. You think we can break Jeff Birding's record here? 6 goals, so we would need 6.
Yeah,
we could do it. A goal game.
Is it possible?
One thing you got to also keep in mind too. It's late in the year for Toronto. I'm talking about their MLS side, who is struggling. Coming off winning the MLS Cup, they may not make the playoffs at this rate. So at some point, they're going to pack it in and give some of those kids, I'm sure, a run down the stretch here. Obviously, I don't think it'll happen before Sunday, but maybe these are some of the homegrown players that you talk about. This is like the September call-ups in baseball. This is their chance to get some MLS minutes.
It's the last place team, so I'm not extremely worried. But they put up 3 versus Ottawa. They put up 1 versus Atlanta. They put 4 versus Louisville.
At Louisville.
2 versus Indy at Indy. So they're scoring goals lately.
3 against us.
They can concede in buckets as well. No march to match day this weekend because if I talk to somebody, that would be the one person that goes to their games because we all only care about attendance here. So we're not gonna have march to match day, but we'll be back and forth. So we got some cool things going on.
But it's a big week for FC Cincinnati. I'm
going to the game.
Yeah, you're going.
Finally, I haven't been since like May. A horrible person.
Do you remember how to march?
You mean you haven't been since we lost a game?
No. Well, the last game I think I went to was Richmond. Technically, I think I went to Richmond. I can never remember.
Was Richmond before or after the Open Cup?
I think it was after. But I did go to the Detroit City game and then the Minnesota United game. So
I'm just saying, if you haven't been to a game since May,
we've
been on a winning streak since you've.
Oh no!
If we don't win, Brian, you're gonna be banned from the rest of the game.
No, I'm pretty sure Richmond was in June. So, okay.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Louisville wasn't my last home game. I'm almost positive. Because I wasn't even there for that second game. So, yeah, whatever.
we don't even want to talk like that.
We've had this discussion offline. I'm like the KLR guys talking about their unique father stories this past week. I'm definitely on that boat train right now with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, we don't want to share those.
Cincinnati soccer talk, not Cincinnati baby talk, right?
Right. Yeah, we've all been there. We get it. It's just it is what it is.
And some love/hate on Facebook. So thanks, guys. Casual.
Hey, I look. You've been to more matches than me. I'll be the first to admit it.
Because you live in Canada, Subes.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's not as cold as I would like it to be.
Toronto joke there. You actually live in Toledo. Either way.
Anyway, again, we've got a few more minutes here. If you want to get in touch with us on CST on this free-for-all Tuesday, 513-399-KICK. Again, we talk about the playoffs and some of the team, and we kind of had this question Saturday night during the Coney phone, which was a lot of fun bringing that back. So thanks to Brad for helping me out with that.
Yeah, I feel like you cheated on me with him.
Well, you kind of got your revenge because twice he was called Brian on the show. So,
Ew.
Yeah. Anyway, so we one of the questions we got was, what teams in the West scare us? We know about the Eastern Conference. We know 1 through 8 is pretty solid, but out West, I don't know how many FC Cincinnati fans have stayed up late to watch some of those matches on the West Coast. Orange County, sitting atop the standings in the Western Conference for the first time this year, I believe. Real Monarchs have really dominated that Western Conference for most of the year, but they've had a slip in form over the last 3 matches. But now Orange County, Aiden Quinn, remember that guy? I think he's still missing penalties for FC Cincinnati.
I was going to say, all Orange County is trip them in the box because then they'll have Aiden Quinn miss their penalties. Sorry.
To be fair, Quinn the other night for Orange County scored a goal, I believe the game winner, the second goal in stoppage time to win the match. So
him and Lance Lang were team of the week this week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another guy, Lance Lang, going out to San Antonio and just tearing it up. So
3 wins in a row out there.
Another man of the match performance for Lance. And that's good to see. I think us as FC Cincinnati fans realize he wasn't getting minutes, and you don't want to sit on the bench all year. Let him go, and look what he's done. He's made an impact for San Antonio, which is I think that's a good thing. That means it's not like they signed a bad player. I mean, he has ability. For whatever reason, it just didn't work out this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad thing, but good for him that he's out there finding time.
So who out West scares you, Bri?
Maybe Phoenix, just because they've added a lot of new pieces that are of quality, but I mean, honestly, right now, I feel pretty confident that Cincinnati can handle them. I just don't think that there's a defense of our quality out there in the whole league, even though, the system and everything with Pittsburgh. But I really, outside of maybe Louisville in the East, I'm just not completely scared. Bill, you have something else?
Sacramento. I think they have something to prove.
Yeah, but their depth, I don't think, is there. We'll see.
Can they
what
get
happens.
there? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean
they're in 4th right now.
5th, I think. They handed us a good whooping in. They are 4th, right? They handed us a good whooping in the season. So,
yep, that's the other reason.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, but the most important thing is coming up this week, Toronto. 1 game at a time. Can't be looking ahead, as we know. It's Cincinnati sports, guys. We can't be looking ahead. 1 match at a time. I'll pose this question to you. The league record for consecutive matches unbeaten is 22. If FC Cincinnati wins out this year, they will have set the record with 23 matches unbeaten. What are your thoughts on that? Do you want them to have that record, or would you rather them lose a game before the playoffs and kind of get it out of their system?
Bill, you go first.
Oh,
welcome.
Gosh. Yeah, exactly. I would say at this point, I'm usually the guy who feels like, you need to get it out of your system and you don't want to peak too early. I feel like we've peaked pretty early. On the flip side, we just keep peaking. And I feel like at this point, we just need to just keep going.
You feel like we've peaked?
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying, though. But it's so early, right?
Yeah.
I mean, normally you look for like the last third of the season for the team to catch up and just take off like a rocket. Yeah. And we started it in the middle, right? Or even before the middle. So it's like, normally a team like us would peak in the middle and then we'd start to dip off at the end and we'd struggle. And we're not. And I feel like if we lose a game, we're going to lose a bunch of games. Our mindset right now is that we're winners and we're going to take it all. And I think we just need to keep winning. I think the guys just need to keep building the confidence that they already have in themselves.
Okay, so that's what I kind of look at there, Bill, is I just want several of our players like Ledesma to keep their confidence up to score. I want Danny Koenig to go get a couple buckets of goals again, because I feel like he's a guy that it comes in and streaks a little bit. But I still don't think we've played our best ball. We're coming up with different ways to win games. I mean, look at that. We went back to week 1, week 2 with this week in Louisville or tonight in Louisville. I mean, we just held our defensive shape. We cleared the ball. We did what we needed to do. We had a bit of good goalkeeping, and we won a game. So that's great. I look at this team. I see all these different these professionals out there that have been places. You got Hood, you got Walker, you got Bone, Ledesma, Kanan, Barrett, all these guys that know how to win games. They know how to be professionals. And you see it on the pitch there. I mean, maybe early in the year, you might have seen them freak out a little bit, but rarely do you see anything rash out of this team. I think there's one moment tonight when Kenny Walker had a foul about 20 yards out just above the box that might have been just something like, oh, crap. And
the resulting free kick was close.
Yeah. Dude, Lancaster is going to be playing in Major League Soccer. If he's not playing for Orlando, I would love to give that dude a run out, be a third striker on an FC Cincinnati team. By the way, I like him. I like Oscar. But yeah, I feel good about this team. The only problem I have is if we really have to chase a game and we have to open up ourselves and we have to tactical changes that aren't normal. If you're seeing us throw in like, oh crap! Who do we threw 3 center backs? Was it versus Pittsburgh that we had 3 center backs that we put in 3 center backs for the first time?
I believe that is the case.
Yeah, if we have to start doing changes like that. That freaks me out a lot more than maybe if we lose a game here or there. If we start tinkering with things that are working, like I love the substitution tonight from Coach Koch, taking out was it Bone and bringing
Bone for Gibson.
And then you move Alashe up. He's the guy that goes everywhere. He chases down everything. He has the license to go forward. You have Gibson and Walker to sit back. I like seeing that a lot more than seeing like, oh crap, let's throw in 3 center backs to lock down the game. So if we keep seeing that, I feel a lot more comfortable. But of course, when you lose a guy like, maybe versus like a red card or something, you have to make some substitutions and stuff like that. But so far, so good. I feel pretty confident in Coach Koch.
Do you want the record for unbeaten streak, Bri, or would you rather?
I was going to say, so the answer to the question is.
I'm sorry. My mind's racing, guys. You got me excited. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. I just want to win the regular season, like by a ton. I want to, kind of have that like European concept of we're the top of the table champions. We deserve to go up to Major League Soccer. Anything can happen in the playoffs. So I would really love for us to be like number 1 by like 10 points. And if we have a fluke game in the playoffs and we lose, okay, we still had a freaking incredible season. So whatever.
I'm kind of there. If they lose before the playoffs, I'm not going to be broken up about it. It's cool that they've gone literally half the year in a 34-game season. They've gone 17 games without losing. That's incredible to think about that. They've gone Memorial Day to Labor Day without losing. I mean, that's the ways to describe this streak has been pretty remarkable. And they've done it in different ways. They didn't play their best down in Tampa a few weeks ago, but they managed to get out of there with 3 points. And in a circumstance they're not familiar with. Starting a match Saturday night, getting about 38 minutes in, and then having to come back 48 hours later. Which, by the way, I need to give full credit to Mama Subs. When she called into the Coney phone, she thought the match would be played this week. I thought she was crazy. Well, she was right. So they played it tonight. The fact that they had to restart things all over again, go back down there on that field and get a result. Look, they've done it differently. We've seen them go to places and put 4 goals in and 5 goals down in Atlanta a few weeks ago. The most important thing is get to the playoffs healthy, get that first playoff win under their belt, and then they can build from that. That's my take.
Okay, so you look at Tampa Bay, you look at Louisville, and Bill might think differently than me, but I mean we tried to really pull back and lock those games down, and that's kind of our strategy on the road. I think it changes a little bit when you're at home. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but we've shown that we have the horses to do this. And, I put out like the keys to the game tonight is we need to watch that second run for Louisville. That's how they always work us. They dive down and they have that first run with Lancaster. And if they decide not to pass to him, you got somebody running behind him. And we eliminated that for the most part. And I think that's great to see. That you see Coach Koch, you see the players adapting, you see them learning. Yes, okay, we didn't win the possession battle, but we won the duels. We won, on the scoreboard. So, I'm even though it's not like a beautiful performance, I'm still feeling pretty good about the squad.
Yeah, I am too. And I think there was a couple scary moments tackle wise from Lasso and Barrett, but I think that.
And you're going to have
in general, yeah, it's going to happen. But I mean, they were just on top of things. I mean, they were just coming at everything and clearing everything, crossing into the box. And, they were pretty solid back there. Like, I think, Subes, you were talking about earlier in this whole podcast. And that's what we got to do. We just got to lock it down and be solid on that, avoid those things we are seeing at the beginning of the season where, like you're talking about these second runs where they come down the sides and then somebody's trailing in and they're sitting at the top of the 18 waiting for the ball. And suddenly there's nobody marking that guy and he's open at the top of the 18. And we let so many goals come in at the beginning of the season with those unmarked second runners. And we seem to have gotten that, adjusted at this point. And I don't think it's the center backs, it's really the holding mids. It's Kenny Walker, it's Fatai Alashe, it's Michael Lahoud. It's those guys that are closing down that space and preventing those second runners from getting open and getting the balls and having clean shots on goal.
And to be fair, it's cliche, but a draw on the road's a win.
Yep.
So right now we have 8 wins, 1 loss, and 3 draws on the road. So we're doing pretty well at that.
I mean, and full credit to Alan Koch. Remember how bad this team was on the road a year ago? I mean, they were atrocious. The fact that they've gone on the road this year, they've only lost once. And nobody saw that coming. Not one single FC Cincinnati fan, not one single media member of the who covers the team saw that coming. Just a job really well done all around. So good stuff. I want to thank Rob Pierce for manning our phones tonight. Rob, thank you so much for being with us and helping us out on the Kings Hammer Hotline. We thank everybody who's tuned in live on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope and Twitch. It's been a lot of fun here on this special edition of CST on Tuesday night. As we wrap things up, Bri, your final thoughts as we get out of here?
Well, let's make sure we handle business this Sunday. Credit to the supporters groups that went down, especially the people that went down Saturday in the pouring rain. Also, the guys who went down again tonight. Props to you guys. I know that makes the team feel great. You saw them come over after the game on TV. So that's incredible. Other than that, guys, let's just make sure we show up. Let's have a great crowd this weekend for them in versus Toronto. And incredible run so far.
And have fun this week at the game, bro.
Dude, I'm so excited. Problem is, I'm trying to get I have Brad's tickets, so I'm trying to get people to go with me, and it's just, we'll see.
If I wasn't going to be in Columbus, I would go with you.
Oh, so crew game? What are you doing?
Yeah, save the crew, right? No, I'll be in Columbus for the Nike Cup for soccer. My daughter's soccer tournament. So I'll be watching on Sunday afternoon. But thanks as always for all that you do for us, man. I appreciate it.
Problem.
Final thoughts from the Wolfman, Bill Wolf. Bill, thank you so much for being with us. I know you were under the weather the last couple of days, but you toughed it out tonight.
Yeah, hopefully I wasn't breathing too hard in the microphone. Somebody was complaining earlier, but yeah, well, that's all right. Yeah, final thoughts. Yeah, we gotta take care of business, but at this point things look really good. We're in a great position. I think essentially there's almost not a single team that can touch us at this point. I mean, all we have to do is basically draw the rest of our games, and we're basically a lock-in for top spot in the East. And I think we can do a lot better than that. I'd love to see us win the next 3 and get 20 in a row. That would actually put us second best record, ever in the USL. So that would be another feather in our cap. Whether we get the full 23 or not so important to me. But I think it's great to go ahead and get those 3 that we should get, and then we'd pretty much lock it in and cement ourselves in pretty solid. So, are we going to talk about live shows at all?
You read my mind, Bill.
I'll let you lead into that then, sir.
So we've got a live show coming up, I believe, on the 21st. That would be Tuesday. Nope. Let me look at the calendar. You would think I'd have the calendar pulled up. I believe it's 2 weeks from now. We're going to be live.
25th.
Yep, 25th. I apologize. Why don't you fill us in, Bill? Where are we going to be?
We're going to be at the Oakley Buffalo Wings and Rings again. So I don't know who made it out the last time, but if you did, it was a great time. We took over like a whole third of their restaurant, and then we spilled out pretty much into the rest of it. But we got a nice corner, had a great little setup there. They, mic'd us through the whole PA system, so it was pretty easy to hear, I think, as far as volume and such. And it was a great time. So hopefully everybody can make it out again. I don't know the time. I don't know what our plan is on that. We probably need Brad for that, but
yeah, of course. Yeah, we're on top of things.
More details coming. Yeah. More details coming. But save the date.
Yes, the moral of the story, as Bill said, save the date. We'll be posting updates about the live shows coming up on the 25th, as well as we're going to be doing a live show on the day of the first home playoff game from Top Cats. So next month. So that'll be a good time. We're looking forward to doing the show there. I actually will be down for that live show. So that'll be fun. It'll be the first time since we did a show at the American Sign Museum for last year's Open Cup match for me being down there to do a show. So I'm psyched about that. Bill, as always, appreciate you being with us.
Yep. Always glad to be here.
Big win tonight for FC Cincinnati. Look, they get 3 points on the road against Louisville. They're at 17 matches unbeaten. It's been quite a run for this club. It's been a lot of fun to watch. So we appreciate you tuning in with us here on CST. Don't forget to rate and review the show on iTunes. Support the show by heading over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. We really do appreciate each and every one of our supporters for everything they do for us. My thanks to Rob Pierce, who manned the phones tonight. For Bill Wolf and Brian Weigel, I'm Subes, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we will see you all next week.